Welcome to NFL Imperialism. You may have seen this concept floating around YouTube, but I wanted to put my own spin on it and hopefully improve it. Before we get started, I humbly ask that you take a moment to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. This is going to be a series, and this channel has some other videos as well, sports related, entertainment related. We do a lot here, trying to grow the audience. We appreciate the fact that you're here right now. We ask that you continue to stay with us. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. If you're interested in a full, thorough breakdown of how this imperialism works, please check out the first 3 minutes or so of the 1966 video, which is linked in the description below. Otherwise, we are ready to start. Today, we will begin a new decade, the best decade. Yeah, that's right, the 1980s. And of course, no better place to start than the year 1980. The 1980 Super Bowl was Super Bowl 15. That was won by the Oakland Raiders for the short period of time they have remaining as the Oakland Raiders. The Philadelphia Eagles were the runners-up in this game. The Eagles were, in my mind, favored to win that game. And the proof here is in our rankings. The Eagles come out as the number 1 ranked team, and the Raiders are all the way down at number 4. They did not win their division that season, so they got through the playoffs unexpectedly and then went ahead and won the game. So congrats to them, they are the Super Bowl champions. Interestingly enough, looking at the bottom 5, 2 teams here, the New York Giants at number 2, they would win a Super Bowl during the 80s and be a general power. And at number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. The decade certainly belonged to them, but in the first year of it, they were still the 4th worst. Who will win 1980 imperialism? There's one way to find out. Let's get this thing started. Our first spin of the 1980s will give us the Kansas City Chiefs. Arrow's going to take them to the east, so our first game in 1980 is going to be in Missouri for Missouri. The Cardinals will host the Chiefs. The Chiefs march right down into Cardinal territory on their first drive. The Cardinals will bring their defense back. The Chiefs are going to pass. Steve Fuller looks for Mike Williams, overthrows, intercepted by linebacker Eric Williams. Makes a nice play, and he's still going. And he avoids that tackle. And oh my goodness, he's going to run this all the way back for a Cardinal touchdown. What a turnaround. Chiefs looked like they were ready to jump out to a 7-0 lead, but the Cardinals take that lead instead. Teams will exchange field goals. It'll be 10-3 now in the fourth quarter, defensive battle. The Chiefs got down in the Cardinals' territory again. The safer pass this time goes to receiver J.T. Smith. That'll tie things up at 10 apiece. The Cardinals, who have not scored a touchdown on offense in this game, have now crossed the midfield under 2 minutes to go. Jim Hart will drop back to pass and try to squeeze this ball to Mel Gray, and he does. Okay, they're on the edge of field goal range. They've done nothing here. It's 3rd and 11. They're going to try to pick up more yardage. And they're going to try to squeeze this to Mel Gray again. That one didn't work. Out comes Irishman Neil O'Donoghue, actually born in Ireland. A 49-yard attempt. It is up. It is good. That's going to be enough for the Cardinals to hang on and win this game 13-10. 1980 may be just like 1979, close game to start things off. The Cardinals successfully ward off the invasion. They will take over the Chiefs' land, and they will stand alone in the state of Missouri. After starting with a game, we're going to go through a little expansion. That wheel hits the Bengals. They go southeast. They're going to take West Virginia. This one is going to just hit the Colts. They're going to go east. They're going to grab Delaware. Up next will be the Bills. They will head northeast. They will take Vermont. Next up on the wheel will be the Rams, and they're going to head straight north. So no more expansions here. The reigning Super Bowl champions of 1980 will take the field at home and play the Rams. We're late in the first half. The Rams lead 3-0 on the edge of the Raider goal line. Cullen Bryant goes up the middle. They wrap him, but they don't take him down. Gets into the end zone, scores, and makes this a 10-3 game. The Rams defense forces a very quick 3-and-out. Get the ball again, and Cullen Bryant goes up the middle, breaks 2 tackles, Looks like he might take it, but they get him down. That leads to a field goal. The defense took over from there, and the Raiders, at home, reigning champions, only score late to avoid a shutout. They go down 16-7. Looking here at the map then, the Raiders become the second team to go out in Imperialism. They weren't an overwhelming champion, and they couldn't handle the Rams in this one. The Rams take over their territory, they own Central California, and expand their land. Our next big spin of the wheel is going to be between the Falcons and the Giants. It's going to be the Giants. They're going to head basically straight north, taking them into the territory of the Buffalo Bills. That will be our next matchup. Buffalo had its way in this one here in the third quarter. They lead 21-3. Handoff goes to Joe Cribbs. He had himself a game. That was a great run, 22-yard touchdown. Buffalo simply extends their lead to 28-3. They would extend it one more time. A final score, 35-3. Buffalo became the first team this season to crack 20. They went ahead and cracked 30 while they were at it. They take over the Giants' territory and give themselves a slight boost in their land. We now look to the wheel for our next game. This is going to just pass the Jets and land on the Eagles. The arrow will go southeast, so the Jets are brought in anyway. They will be hosting the NFC champion and number 1 ranked Philadelphia Eagles. After sleepwalking through the first half, the Eagles' offense came to life here in the second. This dump-off pass from Ron Jaworski to fullback Leroy Harris results in the game's first touchdown, giving the Eagles a 10-0 lead. The fourth quarter saw some more scoring, a little back and forth, but the Eagles handled their business fairly handily here, 24-7. Looking at the map, we just saw the Giants fall. The rest of New Jersey will now fall. The Eagles take over that land and begin their potential rise here as our number 1 ranked team moving on in Imperialism. Our next wheel spin is going to give us a very close call between the Bengals and Seahawks. It's just going to be the Seahawks. Guaranteed expansion. They go southeast. They're going to take the state of Oregon. We'll try another wheel spin, and we are going to get the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to head to the southeast directly into the territory of the Green Bay Packers. That game is coming up at Lambeau Field. The Packers are intent on defending their homeland. They're at the edge of the goal line. This handoff up the middle goes to Jerry Ellis. Here late in the first half, the Packers will extend their lead to 14-0. Now in the fourth quarter, it's 14-3. Minnesota's driving. They're at the 11-yard line. Play action. Tommy Kramer fires it into Ahmad Rashad for the touchdown. The Vikings are going to kick the extra point here. It's going to be 14-10, and they're coming up with an onside kick. Their only chance to win this game is to recover this, but it's Paul Coffin of the Packers who picks it up. That will give Green Bay the 14-10 victory over their rivals. Looking at the map, it's a rare one and done for the Vikings. The Packers will take over their territory and expand their land. With 5 teams now eliminated, we run out this wheel again to see that we get the Falcons, number 3 in our rankings this year. They won't have to play yet though. They're going to go west and they're going to expand into the state of Alabama. We're going to get another achingly close call here. Oilers or Broncos? It's the Oilers. Oh, just barely. Arrowhead's northwest. That's going to give us the matchup we've seen quite a few times here in Imperialism. The Oilers travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Dallas has been controlling this game. Specifically, Tony Dorsett has been controlling it. He gets this handoff around the end. Unbelievable speed and agility. Gets in for his 3rd touchdown of the game. 24-3 Cowboys. The route appears to be on. Well, Houston pulls a field goal back, and now they're at the 27-yard line. 24-6. This pitch goes to Earl Campbell. He has more than power as well. Look at that run. Putting the Oilers a little bit closer. 24-12. They're actually going to go for the 2 here. And they're going to pitch to Tim Wilson, who doesn't get in. Dives short. They have Earl Campbell. They gave it to Wilson. Here comes the onside kick. That ball is just kind of sitting there waiting to be recovered. Houston gets it. That was a bit weird. They're down to 3rd and 17. Stabler drops back, fires deep to Mike Renfro, makes the catch on the extension, and is able to get in for the touchdown. Okay. Houston has scored 16 unanswered points, 24-19. Here comes the onside kick. No, they're kicking it deep. Well, they kicked it deep. Dallas now has the ball 2nd and 10. They're going to throw. This is Danny White looking for Drew Pearson, and it's picked off. Houston has life here. Greg Stemrick making the pick. They're down to 4th and 11, though, from their own 40. Ken Stabler, his first year with Houston, throws it deep. That's Billy White Shoes Johnson. Oh my goodness, a better throw could have been a touchdown. Instead, it's 44 yards for naught, and the Cowboys hold on to win 24-19. Even while we're in this era of the Oilers being a very good football team, it just seems like they always wind up in Dallas. And it's not like Dallas has fallen off at this point by any means. Cowboys win this game. They reclaim the entire state of Texas for themselves and once again eliminate the Oilers. Let's take a look, see what the wheel has in store for us. That will hit the Cleveland Browns. They will head to the northeast. So that's actually going to go into the territory of the Pittsburgh Steelers. AFC Central at this time. Matchup is next. In the first quarter, the Steelers have 3rd and goal at the 10-yard line. Cleveland backs up the defense, anticipating a pass. That's what's happening. But it's a dump off to Franco Harris. Can he get in? He dives and scores. Pittsburgh strikes first. They lead 7-0. Now, over the next 3 quarters, the Cleveland Browns kicked a successful field goal in each of those quarters. In the second, they made it 7-3. Here in the third, they make it 7-6. And now in the fourth, they make it 7-9. So Pittsburgh's going to try to make a comeback here. 3:11 to go. They hand it to Sidney Thornton. He swarmed and he fumbles. Robert Jackson forces it. Charlie Hall picks it up, runs it down in for the touchdown. Cleveland now has taken emphatic control of this game. They lead 16-7, and that's our final score. This is kind of remarkable. For the second straight season in Imperialism, the Browns beat the Steelers by a score of 16-7. Looking here at the map, it's going to be an interesting land grab for the Browns. The Steelers are out, and now the Browns have northwestern Ohio along with western Pennsylvania. A quarter of the NFL teams have been eliminated in 1980. This wheel is just going to sneak into the Cowboys' territory. They'll head north, slightly northwest. That's going to grab the Oklahoma Panhandle, giving the Cowboys an expansion. We'll give this wheel another go. It's going to land on the Chargers. They will head to the northwest. That's going to set up a rematch of last year's matchup between the Chargers and the Rams. That matchup was a shootout. Will we get another one this time? This game is lower on points, but not intensity. In the third quarter, this is Chuck Muncie up the middle for the touchdown. This will tie things up with the Rams at 7 apiece. That is the score now going into the fourth quarter. The Rams driving down. They have 1st and 10 from the 13. Vince Ferragamo, a quarterback, hands it to Elvis Peacock, an all-time great name. He runs it in for the touchdown. That'll give the Rams a 14-7 lead. Their defense steps up huge in this game. That's all they need. 14-7 is your final score. So the Chargers try to invade the Rams' territory. It did not work. The Rams send them back and send them out of the game, taking over their land. Let's see who's up next on the big wheel. It looks like it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. They will head southeast, so based on the Bills' location right now, that's going to send them into Massachusetts to play the Patriots. Once again, the Bills are in control of a football game here in 1980. They lead 14-3 late in the first half. The sweep goes to Joe Cribbs. He's able to weave through the defense. He gets caught, but he breaks a tackle, winds up scoring the touchdown, giving the Bills a big 21-3 halftime lead. It is now 21-6. The Patriots pitch it to Vargas Ferguson on 3rd and long, looking to get a closer field goal, I guess. But they're punting. That's a strange decision here. Punting from the 33-yard line, down 21-6 late in the 3rd quarter. It is a well-placed punt. The return, that's a nice little hurdle there, but he fumbles. That ball's loose at the 8-yard line, picked up by the Patriots. What a genius punt that turned out to be. That is a big man touchdown for Shelby Jordan. It is 23-13. Buffalo gets the ball back. They're a little stunned from that play, but let's see what they can do here. Joe Ferguson tries to squeeze it into Frank Lewis, intercepted by Mike Haynes, and he's going to run it back. Unbelievable ending to this 3rd quarter for the Patriots. Banged out 14 quick points, 21-20. They didn't go for 2 there. 3rd and 7. Buffalo has it. Joe Ferguson throws, incomplete. It is now New England's ball. 3rd and 4 from the 39, their own 39. Grogan rolls out, throws to Ferguson, leaps, makes the catch, tiptoes the sideline, makes a nice gain. They're on the edge of field goal range. Well, maybe not for them. They want to get closer, and they have. It's 3rd and 4 again. Grogan tries Ferguson again, incomplete. John Smith coming out for his 3rd field goal of the game. If he can make it, 33 yards is good. The Patriots have stormed back to take the lead. Buffalo still has time, a minute to go. Ferguson looks for Reuben Gant, and wouldn't you know it, it's Mike Haynes making another interception. The Patriots come back from 21-3 down at halftime, score 20 unanswered in the 2nd half to squeeze out a 23-21 victory. Looking at the map here, the Patriots aren't accustomed to being invaded this early, especially without expanding. But Buffalo did it, and unsuccessfully. The Patriots win. They take the Bills, a playoff team from 1980, off the map and expand their territory. Let's take a look at our next wheel spin. It's going to hit the Colts. Arrow's going to take them slightly southeast. That's hard to see the Colts logo from here. It's so small. But based on that location, they are going to miss Washington and either hit the Delmarva Peninsula or the eastern tip of Virginia. So the Colts will actually expand into that state and now surround the Redskins. Maybe we get something a little more straightforward here. This will land on the Buccaneers as a guaranteed game. They will head southeast. They either had a choice of the Falcons or the Dolphins. It will be the Dolphins, and the game will be in Miami. An expected low-scoring game. The Bucs trail 3-0 in the 2nd half, but have the ball deep in Miami territory. Doug Williams will find Isaac Higgins for the touchdown in this offensively challenged game. Tampa takes a 7-3 lead and are able to force a punt. Larry Mucker running it back. He is fighting for extra yardage, and in doing so, he fumbles. The ball is loose, and that's picked up by the Miami punter. Folks, we have a punter touchdown. The Dolphins take the lead 10-7. George Roberts with the touchdown. Crazy. 44 seconds left. Tampa still has a chance. Williams drops back, finds Jerry Eckwood dragging for extra yards. Ralph Ortega of Miami forces the fumble. They recover, and mercifully, this game is over. The Dolphins win 10-7. So we go back and take a look at the state of Florida, which for many years belonged only to Miami. It does once again. Tampa Bay is out of the game. The Dolphins move on and will have to get through the Falcons, it looks like, if they want to keep going on. 10 teams have now been eliminated from Imperialism. The wheel this time will hit the Denver Broncos. They will head southeast, a little bit further to the east. They may have clipped the Cowboys' territory. As is, they're going to expand into New Mexico. We go back to the wheel, and it's going to land smack dab on the Redskins. No need to spin the arrow. They are enveloped by the Colts. The Redskins will travel to Baltimore to face those same Colts. The Colts have jumped all over Washington in this game. It's 20-0, and here, that is Fred Cook with a strip sack. And the ball's bouncing around. The Colts pick it up and run it back in. That is safety Nesby Glasgow, extending this to a 27-0 lead. Washington got a little closer, but they were never really a threat to win this game. 34-14 is our final score. Baltimore wins. It's not a big land pickup for the Colts. They take Washington, D.C. and the Redskins with them off the map, expanding their territory. The Colts, a little bit better this year. Maybe they have a chance to make some noise while they're still in Baltimore. We continue to chug along here in 1980 Imperialism, and it looks like the Colts are being called right back up, but they will go south. They won't have to play again. They expand into North Carolina. We give the wheel another spin, and this one's going to be landing on the Saints. They will head to the northeast. They're going to expand themselves. They're going to go into Mississippi. Our next spin will hopefully get us on the field to play a game. It will land on the Cowboys, and they will head to the northwest, the area of land the Broncos recently picked up. The Broncos will now host the Cowboys in our next game. While far from a bludgeoning, Dallas has controlled this game completely. They lead 14-3 in the third quarter. Robert Newhouse makes Swiss cheese of the Broncos defense right up the middle for the touchdown. This will extend Dallas's lead to 21-3. The teams exchange touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys go into Denver and win handily, 28-10. So the Broncos have had problem defending their land against the Cowboys whenever they come to town. This time was no different. They're out of the game. The Cowboys continue to expand their territory and look to be growing very much so in the West. We're nearing the halfway point in 1980 Imperialism. This spin of the wheel will give us the Chicago Bears. They will head northwest and split the difference between the Cardinals and Packers there. They will expand into the state of Iowa. We'll try the wheel one more time and see that it gives us the Colts, a very popular selection for this wheel. Arrow takes them northeast. That will take them into the area of our number one ranked team this season, the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see how the Colts do in this one. Pretty well, actually. They led 10-7 at the half. Here we are now in the third quarter. Eagles on the doorstep. They hand off to Leroy Harris, and he somehow Houdinis his way out of all those tacklers and gets into the end zone, giving the Eagles now a 14-10 lead. Philly gets the ball right back. They're at the 23-yard line. Ron Jaworski facing some pressure. Flips it out to his tight end, Keith Krepfel, and he drags his way into the end zone for another Eagle touchdown. This looks like it might be coming to a close, but nobody told Baltimore that. They are now driving the ball. It's 3rd and 7. Big play here. Burt Jones looking for rookie receiver Ray Butler. Makes the catch. Gets the first down. That's what they needed now. The very next play from the 26. Here comes the pressure. They pick it up in the backfield. Butler makes a diving, gliding, sliding catch. All sorts of things you can call that. Touchdown. 21-17. Now Philly. They're facing a 3rd and 13. The Eagles looking to pick up a first down here. Jaworski takes off, but he's taken down. Sanders Shiver with the sack leads to a field goal. 3rd and 21 now for the Colts, all the way back at their own 15. They hand it off to Joe Washington. I guess they know they're going for it on 4th down, so pick up some yards here. They did. They picked up 18. It's 4th and 2. The pitch goes to Cleveland Franklin, and he makes a nice little move, gets the first down, keeps it going. Very next play, I guess they're feeling the momentum here. Burt Jones finds old reliable Roger Carr spinning his way away from these defenders. Picks up a huge chunk of yardage. Now it's 3rd and 13, right where the Colts wanted apparently. Burt Jones looks for Carr. What a great move to get open. Touchdown, Colts. They are not out of this yet. This touchdown will be tying the game. That was 21 yards. They have something else in mind, I think. They're going to go for 2. Why not? They have no business being in this game, on paper anyway. Their performance proves they do. Here's the 2-point conversion. They're going to run it to Franklin, and he gets in. The Colts have gone to Philly and taken this lead. But here come the Eagles, 2nd down. Ron Jaworski steps up in the pocket, fires to Charlie Smith. He has space, gets away from defenders, and makes a big play. But unfortunately for the Eagles, he goes down with an injury. Scott Fitzke is going to be taking his place. Very next play, Jaworski is going to look for Fitzke, and he makes the catch, gets them inside the 10, certainly in field goal range. But the Eagles aren't done looking for the end zone. Second down, Jaworski drops back, throws it to Wilbert Montgomery, who accelerates away from the defense, dives in for the touchdown with 30 seconds remaining, giving the Eagles the lead. The Colts are going to have one more shot at this. They're down 31-25. They're 59 yards away. Burt Jones throws it up for Butler. He makes the catch. He's not going down. He still hasn't gone down. He breaks free for a second, but then he goes down. What an exciting game that was. The Colts gave it everything they had. The Eagles are able to defend the homeland, winning 31-25. So we've talked about the Colts not being the same here in their final years in Baltimore, but this game, they came up, they did what they could on the field of the number one ranked team in 1980. That said, they're out of the game. The Eagles take over their territory, and the reigning NFC champions certainly dodged a bullet right there. We spin the wheel one more time to get the Atlanta Falcons. Arrow's going to take them northeast. Now, we need a little bit of a photo finish here. It's amazing that they only have a tiny little strip of land to hit the Eagles' territory, but they do hit it. So, we're going to get a matchup of top three teams. Number 1, Philadelphia to host number 3, Atlanta. The Falcons' defense has created a lot of turnovers in this game, giving them control. Steve Bartkowski finds Wallace Francis a diving catch in the end zone, extending the Falcon lead to 28-10. They concede one late. They win the game. They go into Philadelphia, knock off the number 1 seed, 28-17. So looking at the map, we've got an interesting scenario here. The Falcons' first game of Imperialism has always been against the Dolphins. Last season was against the Buccaneers. This is the first time their first game was against a non-Florida team, and it was at a number 1 ranked team. But they win the game. The Eagles are out. The Falcons take over their land. We are at the halfway point here. 14 teams have been eliminated. Only the Lions and the 49ers have not been called on at all. We're going to do a little expansion here on our next group of spins. See if we can get those 2 teams in there. Our first spin gives us the Cowboys. They will head northwest into Wyoming. Now the St. Louis Cardinals. They will head southeast and take Arkansas. We will again see the Cowboys and again head them northwest, this time into Utah. We will get the Rams on this 4th spin. They will head southeast, taking Arizona. And now for the first time we have the 49ers. They will head northeast. That will stop the expansion and send them to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Seattle holds a slim 14-13 lead in the 4th quarter. Jim Zorn, play action, fires in the end zone to Sam McCullum, makes the catch before getting out of bounds. That'll give Seattle some breathing room. It's 21-13. The 49ers get the ball back deep in their own territory. It's 3rd and 10. Steve DeBerg will drop back to pass and gets taken down for a safety. Manu Tuiasosopo gets it. Seattle tacks one on. They get their first ever Imperialism victory at home against the 49ers, 30-13. So with that first ever victory, Seattle now takes over Northern California, knocking the 49ers out of the game and giving the Seahawks a chance to do some damage later on. 1980 Imperialism continues on. We spin the wheel to get the Patriots. They will head up to the northeast, so that will be an expansion into New Hampshire. We take another look at the wheel, and we will get the Green Bay Packers. They will head southeast, and we're going to get another great Packers-Bears game. At least we're hoping it's great. This game will be in Chicago. The Packers trail 10-7 in the 4th quarter, but they are on the edge of the end zone. This handoff goes to Eddie Lee Ivory. For some reason, the name never changed from quarterback Lynn Dickey, so he's getting credit for this touchdown. But it was Ivory that scored it. 14-10. The Bears promptly, on the next kickoff, fumble it, and the Packers are going to try to recover this thing, and they do. And then a few plays later, they're going to run the same play from the 8-yard line to Eddie Lee Ivory. This time, the name changed, and he will get proper credit for the touchdown. So the Packers were down 10-7 just like that. They have now taken a 21-10 lead. Our final score will be 28-16. The Bears are unable to defend their land against the bottom 5 team. Yes, it's a rivalry, but you might expect they would have won this game. They did not. The Packers take their land and now have a significant chunk of the Midwest to their name. We push forward with our next spin of the wheel. It will land on the Atlanta Falcons. They will head south, slightly southeast, staying south enough to hit South Carolina and expand their territory. We spin the wheel again to find that we get the Green Bay Packers. Arrow's going to take them to the northwest. That will also be an expansion. The state of North Dakota now belongs to the Packers. We spin the wheel one more time and we will get the Bengals. They are being sent northwest, so we're going to get the Battle of Ohio here. The Cleveland Browns, defending Imperialism champions, will host the Bengals. Cincy was never quite in this game. The Browns lead 20-7. Handoff up the middle goes to Greg Pruitt, one cutting in for the touchdown. That will extend their lead to 27-7. And in the fourth quarter, the wheels fell off of the Bengals. The Browns wind up running away with this one. A final score of 48-13. There may have been some legitimate thought to the fact that the Browns kind of fluked their way to last season's Imperialism Championship. But this season, they're proving they have staying power. They beat the Bengals, take them away from this game, take over their territory, and expand their land. We'll take another look at this wheel and see that it gives us the Green Bay Packers. They're going to be sent down straight south. Packers are going to play the Cardinals in a matchup of the NFL's 2 oldest franchises. The Cardinals bring a 10-0 lead into the fourth quarter. From the 10, the Packers change their defense, causing an audible on offense. Jim Hart, facing the pressure, gets it off to Mel Gray. He comes back for it, then gets back into the end zone. What a nice play by Gray. He's been great in many Imperialisms over the years. 17-0 becomes a final score of 24-7, a victory for the Cardinals. So the Packers, from their bottom 5 perch, actually came in here and won a couple of games. But once they went on the road in St. Louis, they take the L. The Cardinals now take over the Packers' land and have announced their presence on this map. We are now down to our final 10 teams. One of those teams are the Falcons. The wheel selects them to go northeast. That's going to set them up in a matchup with the Patriots. That might sound familiar to some people. That game is coming up next. This game is tied at 7 in the third quarter. James Mayberry, returning this punt, loses control of the ball. It's picked up by the Patriots. They're getting into the habit of scoring touchdowns off fumbled punt returns. And this touchdown is scored by the greatest lineman in franchise history, Hall of Famer John Hanna. New England leads 14-7. Atlanta's coming back, though. The Patriots bring the defense forward. Steve Bartkowski checks into a pass play. And that's Alfred Jenkins hanging out by the sideline on the delayed route. Makes the catch. Gets inside the 10. Down to the 7-yard line. Big play there for Jenkins. It's now 3rd and goal from the 14. Bartkowski, play action. Looks for Wallace Francis in the end zone. Touchdown Atlanta. Just like that, this game is now tied at 14 apiece. Patriots have the ball. Matt Cavanaugh in at quarterback for the injured Steve Grogan. Let's see how this turns out. He is looking for a dump-off pass, ill-advised, intercepted by Roland Lawrence. The Falcons get the ball back. They have driven it down to the 13-yard line. Bartkowski looks, throws into the end zone. Wallace Francis takes the hit, but hangs on. Those were his only 2 catches of the day. Alfred Jenkins did most of the damage. The Falcons actually tack one on before the end here, turning that big fourth quarter into a 28-14 victory. That number 3 ranking we gave the Falcons before the season was not unearned. This is a good team. They actually had the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs that year. They're going to win this game. They're going to take over everything that's left in the Northeast that hasn't been claimed. And they're looking like a potential favorite to win it all in 1980. Our next game will be our 20th in 1980. It might involve the Dallas Cowboys. It will. They head east, and directly east, out the center of the logo, will send them to the Cardinals. This will be the Cardinals' biggest test in what has been a good run so far. Let's see how this game turns out. The Cowboys' Drew Pearson takes the opening kickoff and promptly fumbles it, giving the Cardinals a quick possession here in this game. On the very next play, from the 28-yard line, Jim Hart will drop back to pass. Scans the field, finds his tailback, Otis Anderson, not really known as a receiver, but he gets this catch and is able to turn around and run it in. What an incredible start for St. Louis. They lead 7-0. Dallas not to be undone, though. We're in the second quarter. 3rd and goal from the 4. The handoff goes to bruising Robert Newhouse. He's able to score, so Dallas is able to, for now, fend off that terrible beginning and have tied this game at 7. They get the ball back again before the end of the half. 1st and goal, under a minute left. The pitch to Tony Dorsett gets around the edge and will score. So now Dallas, after the calamitous beginning, will go into halftime leading 14-7. It gets into a defensive struggle from here. Still 14-7. 4th quarter, Jim Hart looking to pass. Throws to Pat Tilley. It's incomplete. That's not 4th and goal. It's 4th and 1. They only need a yard here. Handoff to Anderson. He's stopped. So now Dallas have it, but they're facing 3rd and 10. Can they get out from this spot and try to run the clock out? The pass to Drew Pearson. Oh, a better pass from Danny White would have been a completion. Cardinals get it back. 3rd and goal. Hart is going to scramble. The fleet of foot, apparently. Jim Hart gets it inside the 10-yard line. They will once again face 3rd down. After the motion, Hart throws to Anderson, and that's twice he has caught the touchdown on a slant. What an incredible game for Anderson. He's ran the ball well, and he has 2 touchdown catches. That ties it up. It's 14 apiece. We are headed for overtime. The Cowboys win the toss and quickly move it down inside of midfield. This handoff goes to Ron Springs. Lee Nelson will force the fumble. Springs in for the injured Robert Newhouse. The Cardinals recover and run it back to about the 38-yard line. Very next play, Jim Hart under center. Here comes the pressure, but the running back picks it up. Throws to Mel Gray, leaps up and makes the catch at the 6. And they're going to bring out Neil O'Donohue. We've seen him make these kicks for the Buccaneers. Lines it up. Here comes the rush. Gets it off. It's good. And the Cardinals are able to hold on at home, winning this game 17-14. 31 total points doesn't scream thriller, but a thriller this game was. The Cardinals were facing their big test. They passed. The Cowboys are out of imperialism in 1980, and the Cardinals now unequivocally have the largest piece of land. Does that make them a favorite going forward? After that thriller, the wheel will pick out the Seattle Seahawks. Arrow sends them to the northeast, a simple expansion here into the state of Idaho. We'll spin the wheel again, and this time it will land on the Cleveland Browns. Arrow heads northeast. That's going to give us a game in what looks like it could be a heavyweight showdown. The Atlanta Falcons will host our reigning imperialism champion, Cleveland Browns. I guess some heavyweight bouts end in early knockouts. It's the first quarter. Atlanta leads 14-0. Steve Bartkowski fires deep to Alfred Jenkins, stretches out, makes the catch, gets up, runs it in the rest of the way. There's still a minute left in the first. Atlanta leads 21-0 and never got closer than that. This was a blowout. The Falcons take care of the Browns with ease, 38-7. Alright, let's talk about this map first. The Falcons are looking like a power this season. They take the Browns out of the game. And looking at our remaining teams, only our two teams in the southern corners, the Rams and the Dolphins, have ever won Imperialism before. So unless they come up and do so, we are getting a first-time champion this season. Our push toward the end continues, and we will finally hear from the Detroit Lions. They head west, slightly northwest. That's not going to do anything to take them away from the Cardinals' territory. This should be a fun matchup this late in Imperialism. The Cardinals have been stuck in neutral here. The Lions lead 17-6 on their own 49. The pitch goes out to Billy Sims. Beats the defenders to the edge, running down the sideline, spins away. Does he have the speed? He does. A scintillating 51-yard touchdown run for Billy Sims and the Lions. 24-6 is the score. 24-6 is the final. The Cardinals just couldn't get going, and the Lions took advantage and win this game in St. Louis. So how's this for a role reversal? We're used to seeing the Lions get on a nice little run in Imperialism, winning 3 games before bowing out to a game you didn't see them losing. Role reversal. The Cardinals are the team that are now out. The Lions are the team doing the ousting. They now take over all of the Cardinals' land. And maybe, just maybe, after all the years of being a serious threat, this season that we don't see it coming, the Lions maybe can get something done. Only 6 teams remain with many surprises still left, and here we're going to get the Saints. Might they see the field for the first time? They will. They will head northwest and face the team that we just recently saw take the field for the first time. The Lions will host the Saints. We're tied at 14 in the second half. The Lions face a 3rd and 3. The pitch goes out to Billy Sims. He turns on the speed, gets around the corner, and he's going to get all the way into the end zone without being touched. That is a huge play for the Lions. They've been kind of stuck in the mud with the Saints. They extend to 21-14. They force a 3 and out. The Saints come out to punt, and that's how you blow up a punt. Just take the punter right down. Lions get the ball right back. Gary Danielson throws it to Freddie Scott on the crosser for the touchdown. So the Lions were in a little bit of trouble in this game, but they quickly pull away. They get ahead 28-14 at a field goal. Our final score here will be Lions 31, Saints 14. We had an interesting dynamic here. 6 teams remained. 2 were from the top 5, 2 were from the bottom 5, and 2 were from in between. With the Saints being eliminated here, the Lions taking over their land, one of the bottom 5 teams are now out. Our new dynamic is 2 teams in the West, the Seahawks and the Rams, 2 teams in the East, the Falcons and the Dolphins, with the Lions sitting in the center. We're 4 games away from crowning 1980's Imperialism champion. This is close, but it goes to the Dolphins, which means we're not going to bother with the arrow at all. They're going to travel to Atlanta. And for the first time in this matchup, the Falcons will be the clear favorite. How will they handle that position? After an early exchange of field goals, the Falcons have taken over this game. This run by William Andrews will punctuate that first half, giving them a 24-3 lead. We wondered how they'd perform as the favorites. They performed exceptionally well. Atlanta dominates Miami, a sentence we've never said in Imperialism, winning this game 34-3. So the Dolphins won early against the Buccaneers, got to hang out for a while, but the state of Florida has slipped from their grasp. It now belongs to the Falcons, and the Falcons now are undisputed on the East Coast. We've arrived at a very unlikely Final Four, at least for the most part. The Falcons get called up. They will go northwest. That's going to be an expansion. The state of Kentucky now belongs to them. The wheel hits the Falcons again and gives them just about the same arrow. Taking a look at the map, we need a photo finish here. That will just get past Tennessee, but will be intercepted by Indiana before it can hit the Lions' territory. So the Falcons are going to expand and for now stay off the field. Will the third time be the charm here? The wheel selects the Rams. The arrow's going to take them directly east. So we're getting a game here. The Rams will travel to Detroit to face the upstart Lions. The Lions are looking to break a 7-7 tie in the third quarter. Third and goal from the 3. Up the middle's Dexter Bussey. They're saying he broke the plane. That is a touchdown for the Lions. They now lead 14-7. On defense, they force a quick 3 and out and get right back in it. This is now first and goal from the 9. Play action. Danielson fires it to Freddie Scott for the touchdown. The Lions extend their lead to 21-7, and they dominated from this point forward. A final score of 38-10. Winners over the LA Rams. Looking now at the map, the Rams are going to cede control of their territory over to the Lions, and we have a final 3 of Seattle, Detroit, and Atlanta. That is pretty exciting if you ask me. Which of these 3 teams will be coming up? It looks like it's the Seahawks. They're going to head southwest. That's a close call there. They're just going to miss sliding into the Lions' territory. They're going to take over and expand into the state of Nevada. We'll spin this again, and we will get the Falcons. Arrow's going to take them slightly west, slightly northwest, that little bit of north. Look at the arrow. You can see it bypassing the corner of the state of Tennessee. So the Falcons are going to go into Detroit and play the Lions. Before we do that, though, we must discuss the Seattle Seahawks. 1980 is their 5th season in existence. They get their first ever Imperialism win. They're a bottom 5 team, and they're going to be in the championship game. The first ever bottom 5 team to do so. We're going to find out who they're going to play in just a moment here. Atlanta at Detroit. The game remains scoreless late in the first quarter. From the 24, this handoff goes to William Andrews. He gets away from a tackler and drags his way into the end zone as the quarter expires. The Falcons strike first, taking a 7-0 lead. Detroit, though, will be keen to answer. They have driven the ball down to the 4-yard line. Gary Danielson pitches to Dexter Bussey, and he dives his way in for the tying touchdown. 7-7 is the score. There's still time left in the first half, and the Falcons are going to be looking to add to their point total. Play action to William Andrews. The pass goes to Wallace Francis. Makes a diving catch. Touchdown. Atlanta now leads 14-7. Still in the first half. It's 2nd and 13. The Falcons change up their defense a little bit. Gary Danielson will drop back. Fires it deep to Leonard Thompson. Gets up and makes the catch. Unfortunately for the Lions, they couldn't do anything else. So here on 4th down, they're going to bring out rookie kicker Eddie Murray for a 50-yard field goal. It's got the leg, and he's good. 14-10 now at halftime. Going to the second half, it's 3rd and 1. The Lions pitch it to Billy Sims. He gets the first and much more. Gets inside the 10-yard line. The Lions now on the next play. Fake it to Bussey, pitch it to Sims, making moves, gets in for the touchdown. What a spectacular rookie year Billy Sims had, and he's doing it in Imperialism as well. Atlanta now trailing 17-14, have the ball at the 43 of Detroit. That is Ken Finetti getting in for the sack, but more importantly for the Falcons, that will knock Steve Bartkowski out of the game. Mike Morosky is his backup. He comes in now. This is his first pass. Oh boy, not very good. It's now 2014. Morosky's going to try to lead a comeback. Play action. Tries a pass to Lynn Kane, and it's intercepted by Ray Oldham. That will now put the game away for the Lions. They defend their home. They win the game, pitching a second half shutout, 20-14 over the Falcons. So we now have our 1980 Imperialism Championship game. Really, nobody could have seen this coming. The Seahawks won 4 games in 1980. They were actually pretty good. the 2 previous seasons, but it was this season where they got their 1 win and they were able to ride their geography to the title game. The Lions, on the other hand, got in late, but they've won every game they've played. They won 9 games in 1980, but they were still very much an underdog to get to this point. The Seahawks will play the Lions for the 1980 Imperialism Championship. We just need to spin the wheel to find out where this game's going to be played. Here now is that spin. Will it speed up enough to get to the Lions? No, the Seahawks are chosen. They will travel to Detroit to try to become, by far, the most unlikely Imperialism champion to date. Let's see how this game goes. Seattle's threatening here, having driven the ball down to Detroit's 37. Jim Zorn is facing immense pressure, gets it off but overthrows it, intercepted by James Hunter, and he is getting away from everybody, and he's being pursued, but he's got enough speed that they can't catch him. An 85-yard interception return to open the scoring after a lackluster start by Detroit's offense. The defense steps up again, forces an immediate 3-and-out, drives the ball down inside the 40-yard line. The pitch goes to Billy Sims. Can he make another long touchdown run? He dodges that diving tackle attempt, spins away, scores the touchdown. The Lions have taken command of this game 14-0, and they would not relinquish that command. Our final score of this game, 38-0, an emphatic Detroit Lion victory. And with that victory comes ownership of the United States of America. This is fitting for the Lions. They have long been the team in imperialism with the best record that had not yet won the whole thing. That is no longer true. Your champions of 1980, the Detroit Lions. The Raiders and the Eagles met in Super Bowl 15 at the end of the 1980 season, with the Raiders coming up on top. That is not how imperialism went for either of these teams. The Raiders were the second team out, and the Eagles did win a couple of games, but got knocked out in the middle of proceedings. No, we had 2 new teams to look at here. The Detroit Lions and somehow the Seattle Seahawks. With the Lions, despite having a 9-7 record in 1980 and being denied a playoff spot, winning it all. And here is the roster they won it all with, starting with the offense. Billy Sims and Dexter Bussey made for an excellent running back combination in the backfield, with Gary Danielson supplementing them well with a good passing game going to guys like Freddie Scott and David Hill. But we're looking at that O-line again. These guys held it up for the team and were able to break those holes open for those dynamic running backs. Now we take a look at this defense, and while there's talent up and down the entire unit, there's 2 guys we want to focus on. The defensive end combination of Dave Purifori, I hope I said that correctly, and Al Baker. These guys got after the quarterback constantly, stuffed the run. A guy like Al Baker has never gotten his proper career due, partly because he played during an era where sacks were not an official statistic. He would be very high in the all-time rankings had they counted. 1980 Imperialism was certainly lower scoring than 1979 was, and while there were fewer close games, it's not that we were lacking for close games. This first half of games saw Packers, Cowboys, Patriot victories by 1 score. That Eagles-Colts game was particularly enthralling. The second half of games did see a few more blowouts, highlighted by the Browns annihilating the Bengals. We'll see on the right-hand side that we didn't see the Lions show up until late. But once they did, they went through all of their opponents, including in that championship game, pitching the first ever shutout in the Imperialism title game. And despite that late arrival, the Lions paced the way for the most victories in 1980, notching 5 without taking a single loss. The Falcons had their best season in any Imperialism to date, going 4-1, and the Cardinals joined both of them as the only teams to win more than 2 games. Lots of teams took it on the chin this time around, including teams that you might expect would be better, like the Raiders and the Vikings. The overall records give us the Vikings still at the top. They're tied with the Cowboys for the most victories at 35, but the Vikings have taken fewer losses. The Lions now take their place in 4th and are no longer the team with the best record to never win Imperialism. That now belongs to the Colts, who are now the only team with a winning record never to win Imperialism. The Seahawks made it to the title game, and in doing so, got off the schneid, winning their first ever game. Thank you all for getting this far in the video. We truly hope that you enjoyed it. That was 1980 in the books. In a few days, we'll be coming back for 1981. If you happen to be watching this at a later date, we have all completed Imperialisms linked in the description below. In the meantime, if you would please take a moment to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any future Imperialism videos. We do other things on this channel as well, sports related and entertainment related. Hopefully you get the chance to go watch all that and enjoy all that too. Before we leave you today, we want to take one last look at this lion logo sitting on top of the United States of America. They've done well, very well in previous imperialisms, but had never closed a deal. This time, they got it done, and they run the nation. From us here at CCC Productions, thank you very much one last time. We hope you have an awesome day.